we will start the lesson for today. So far, I think there is 9 participants. However, we will start. Right. In last week, actually, we cannot conduct the lecture series due to several reasons. One day I got a meeting, and next day there was a power cut for myself. Then, is there any power cut today for any students? Some students in your batch? So that may be another reason that maybe the number is very less, right? Okay. However, then and also there is some kind of revolution situation in the country with in the roads and everywhere we are seeing, and maybe that will be another reason that maybe the students are not much participating in the lecture. However, I don't know, it is not some kind of unstable situation in the country. However, we will continue our education also. So however, we have to continue. Right. Then we started discussing about this cloud computing. Then we had discussed some introduction about this cloud computing, some kind of definitions and basic idea. Right. Then some kind of characteristics of I think I had to stop here, right? I had to stop here. Some kind of characteristics of cloud computing. The first one is on-demand self-service, right? On-demand, right? On-demand self-service. A consumer can unilaterally provisioning computing capabilities such as server time and network storage as needed automatically without requiring a human interaction with each service provider. Right? That means on-demand self-service. Self-service means the consumer can utilize their resources by themselves. Right? Provision computing capabilities such as server time and network storage. They can take server time and network storage as needed automatically without requiring human interaction with each service provider. Right? What the customer or the consumer can do, they can, as example, in let's assume they are using some kind of service, then they need more storage for that. Let's assume you are maintaining some kind of SMS or email server. Let's assume email server you are maintaining. For that, you need more storage, right? Right? You need more storage, and maybe then what you can do without discussing with your service provider, you can do what? You can request storage from them, right? And automatically, or maybe you can do the setups or automatically adjusting the size. As example, when your email server size is getting low, the storage is getting low, what you can do, you can set up, right? You can predefine that automatically the storage need to be increased. The storage is getting low, automatically the storage need to be increased, right? That is some kind of idea about this. Automatically without requiring human interaction. In that time, if you pre-request or you had already configured the system to do automatically adjustment to the storage, then no need human interaction. The system will be automatically adjust. But in cloud computing, if your system was taken here more storage, your system was taking more storage, then you have to pay for that storage. That is the thing that you have to consider, right? It is automatically adjusting. You can do the adjustment or the configurations, but you have to pay for the service, right? Also for the server time, right? You can automatically adjust, right? Okay. Then broad network access, right? Then this is some kind of special idea, right? Capabilities are available over the network and access to standard mechanisms that promote use by heterogeneous thin or thick client platform, right? This network means, let's assume you are maintaining a website using WordPress, right? WordPress, right? And you know, if there is anyone working with WordPress, right, what we can do, right? We can embedding, right? We can embed YouTube video into the WordPress web page. Then actually that web video is in the YouTube, but we can embed that video into our web page, right? Then once you click on the play button, it will be play on your website. That's the idea. Then what is happening? This broad network access me, right? Let's assume an infrastructure or the web server that was hosted in your infrastructure. In your university, let's assume your website is hosted in your university. Then you have 100 Mbps, right? 100 Mbps, megabits per second, right? Megabits per second network connectivity, right? You have a web server on site in your University of Vocational Technology, and that server has 100 Mbps connectivity, right? Then as example, think in this WordPress website, you had embedded 100 videos, right? Then let's assume 100 users came in same time and going to play your video, right? Or maybe the traffic will be getting high, right? Right? Let's assume, right? Don't think about YouTube video, right? There's a WordPress website, right? This is your email, your web server inside the institute. Then there is a video. 100 videos are stored in this, embedded in this WordPress website. Then in the same time, in a single time, 100 users came to the website and tried to play this 100 videos. Then what happened? Let's assume these users are outside, right? Normally for your website, accessing by other outside people, right? Not maybe it is very less, right? Number of students are, if we are considering in today, also students are in outside, they are not in inside, so they are not normally using the internal network. Normally, a lot of people who want to find about the information about your university are joining or are connecting to this website. They are outsiders. That's what I want to tell. They are outsiders. Then let's assume this 100 of outsider web users are trying to play this 100 videos, right? 100 videos. Then you have 100 Mbps connection, right? Then let's assume these videos are high quality videos stored in your web browser or maybe some kind of storage device in here and delivered to this website. Then what happened? This bandwidth of 100 Mbps may be not enough to supply this demand. This video playing demand, to supply this video playing demand, this 100 Mbps connectivity may be not enough. Then what will be the experience for the users at the same time? Then 100 users are trying to play 100 videos, but the users are experiencing, okay, then for the 50, 60 users are, okay, they are playing the video. But for the 40 users, it is, let's assume, right? I am not give you the actual figures. For the 40 users, they cannot play videos. right? Or video may be lagging, right? This is because of this 100 Mbps connection, right? When if you have on-site servers, that means internal web servers, then you have a limited network access, right? You 100 Mbps limited network access. But if your web server is in a cloud, right? So these cloud servers have huge bandwidth, more than 100 Mbps. Huge bandwidth they have. So if you have some kind of videos, they may be maybe not 100, maybe 1,000 users trying to connect to your web server and try to play videos, then the bandwidth is not a problem, right? Bandwidth is not a problem. That is the overall idea. Then if you are in the cloud, then you have broad network access, more bandwidth. You have more bandwidth, right? You have more bandwidth, right? Access to the standard mechanism that promote use by heterogeneous, right? Thin or thick client platform, right? Then when your website is in the cloud, then various users like mobile phones, right, tablets, various users by various devices like mobile phones, tablets, laptops, and workstations, they can join. Maybe using some kind of this kind of, let's assume, laptop. Using some kind of laptop, you can log into your website, right? Using some kind of credentials, maybe username, password, and some any other mechanism. You can log into the website and you can do the adjustments, or you can do the modification, or you can update your website using some kind of laptop machine, right? All bandwidth are managed by the cloud service provider. That is the idea. Then resource pooling, right? The provider's computing resources are pooled to serve multiple consumers using a multi-tenant model, right? With different physical and virtual resources dynamically assigned and reassigned according to the consumer demand, right? If you, let's assume you are the owner of some kind of cloud service, right? Right? Then you have some kind of computing resources, that means computing power, right? Then that means we can tell that is some kind of pool of power. Let's assume you have 100 servers. I am not going to discuss about the capabilities or the performances or the storages. Let's assume you have 100 servers. We can say that is as a server, some kind of computing resource pool. Computing resource pool you have. Then what you can do, right? Maybe you are now the service provider, cloud service provider. Then you have, let's assume, 50 customers as example. 50 customers you have. All customers are hosting one website in your cloud service, right? Then according to demand, right? According to demand, let's assume one server, right? One web server need, right? 2 server machines, right? One website need 2 server machines. Then you can utilize these 50 servers by 100 server machines, right? 50 website by 100 server machines. Then what happened for some kind, let's assume for 20 websites, the users may be getting high. For 20 websites, the number of users are getting high. Then from 2 servers, right? From 2 server machines, you cannot manage this website. Then what happened from this 1,000 website, you can allocate. Okay, for the, let's assume website A, default it has 2 servers, but when the demand is getting high, you can allocate another server from this 1,000 server pool, right? That is the idea. You can add one. Then now a website is using 3 web servers to supply the service, right? Likewise, you can do this resource pooling and resource assigning to the according to the requirement. Serve multiple customer using multi-tenant model, right? This multi-tenant model means single instance of software and it's supported by infrastructure server multiple customers, right? That means you have some kind of this kind of one server, right? Some kind of single instance of the website. Let's assume WordPress instance. This A is the A's company's website. It is one WordPress instance, right? Then what is happening, right? Using this multi-tenant model, right? There's one instance, but you can allocate resources according to the requirement. Like this, now we had that one server machine. Then a WordPress website instance is now using 3 web servers. Likewise, this is the idea of this multi-tenant model, right? Right. Then using this multi-tenant model, we can give some kind of services to different customers, right? Let's assume some kind of, as example, Google Slides or Google Docs, right? Google Docs, right? Google Docs. What the providers are doing, Google are doing, this is some kind of single instance, right? Single instance, but supplied to large number of customers, right? This is some kind of single application. They are giving, right? They are giving this service to number of customers, right? That is the idea of this multi-tenant model with different physical and virtual resources. For this supply this service, they can use number of physical devices like this number of servers or the memory, right? Physical and virtual resources. Maybe let's assume they they're using 2 virtual operating systems, but if they want, they can allocate according to the time according to the requirement. According to the requirement, they can allocate if there are any virtual resources like virtual operating system. Likewise, dynamically you can assign and reassign, right? If we want, we can assign the resources. If we don't want the resources or the load is getting down, then we can reassign, right? Reassign according to the consumer demand, right? Then measured services, right? Cloud systems automatically control and optimize resources by leveraging and metering capability, right? Normally, if you have a cloud system, normally for the cloud system, they have some kind of metering system, To that metering system, what they are doing, they are managing the traffic. The traffic means maybe the bandwidth, maybe the processing power, maybe the storage, right? What is the thing? They are automatically, these cloud services are designed like that. They are automatically control and optimizing, right? If there is any problem for some kind of calculation, what they are doing, if there is a huge calculation to do, then they are allocating the resources, allocating the processors for the calculation, right? Then what they are doing, they are optimizing their resources and utilizing the resources by leveraging, right? Leveraging means accelerating, right? Metering capabilities of some level of abstraction appropriate to the type of services, right? Like storage, processing, right? Also storage, processing, bandwidth, right? Maybe an active user accounts, right? Maybe for the cloud services, let's assume for a cloud service provider, they have 10 million users, right? Then you have 10 million user accounts, right? Then number of user accounts is getting high. Then they have to manage these accounts. Then they have to supply the uninterrupted service from their infrastructure, right? Resource usage can be monitored, controlled, and reported, right? Let's assume there is three companies for your cloud service. A, B, C are using, they are using some kind of, let's assume, Alpha, right? Alpha cloud, this is the cloud service, let's assume, this is example, right? Alpha cloud service is used by ABC companies, right? Then what they can do, right? What is the usage of A? What is the usage of B? What is the usage of C? What is the bandwidth usage of A, right? What is the storage usage of A? Likewise, this Alpha service is monitoring these things, right? They can monitor, they can control, and they can report it. Finally, they can generate a report for the bill for at the end of the month according to the subscription plan. They have to pay for the cloud service, and then they can report. They can generate some kind of bill and usage. What are the things that you had used in last month, right? Providing transparency, right? For both the provider and the consumer. They can provide some kind of transparency. You had used this much of amount for the last month. Likewise, like your telephone bill, right? Likewise, they can provide for both the provider and the consumer of the utilized service, right? Then rapid elasticity. Capabilities can be elastically provisioned and released, right? In some cases, automatically, right? Elasticity means enhancing. Likewise, like my previous example, right? Then you need more storage, right? Let's assume you have 1 TB storage, 1 TB storage, then you have to expand it to 5 TB, right? So that is the idea of this elasticity, right? The expanding of this, not only the storage, right? All services like this, what is this thing? Storage, processing power, bandwidth, any other thing, right? Right, then in these cloud services, from the side of the cloud service provider and also from the side of the cloud services user, both have this elasticity capabilities, right? Can be elasticity provision and release, right? If you can you can allocate the storage. If you are like lack of storage, you can allocate. If you are free, you don't need storage, then you can release your storage, right? In some cases automatically, right? Some cases handled by automatically by the cloud service, right? Cloud system. To scale rapid outward and inward commensurate with demand, right? According to demand, let's assume you need 100 GB storage, right? Then suddenly, for some kind of reason, you need 150, right? Then the system will be automatically allocated, right? For your system, let's assume you hired a web server, right? For your web server, suddenly you need more additional storage. Then it will be provided by the automatically. No, most of the time it will be provided automatically by the system, right? If you don't need this storage, then the reason here is if you're using 150, then you have to pay for 150 GB storage. Then that is not cost effective. Then if you are not using this 150 GB storage, right? 150 GB storage, then what again the system will be do? It is it will be released. That means again it is come to 100 automatically most of the time, right? If you have serious elasticity, maybe serious increase, then you have to manually do that, right? So this is the idea, right? Rapid elasticity, provision and release. In some cases automatically. Some cases this case will be happening automatically. Right? Some cases it is not, right? You have to manually do. To scale rapid outward and inward commensurate with demand, right? According to demand, right? You have to, according to demand, it will be happening or you have to manually do. To consumer, the capabilities available for provisioning often appear to be unlimited and can be appropriate in any quantity at time, right? From the consumer side, or consumer mean the user, from the user side, right? Like provisioning appear to be unlimited, right? From normally, if you are using some kind of, let's assume AWS or Azure, right? Azure, right? From your side, normally you are experiencing But YouTube, right? YouTube, right? Right? You can put any number of videos to the YouTube, right? There is no limit, right? But actually, if you are thinking, YouTube has a limit, right? Actually, they have a limit. If we ask from them, right, from the higher management today, what is your storage level, storage capacity for today? They have a limit, right? They have a limit from their side. But for the customers, for the users, they are not actually know about some kind of limit. They are experiencing some kind of unlimited storage, but really there is a limit. But from the user side, actually there is enough storage. And recently, some kind of, we can say it is some kind of unlimited storage that we are having, right? And can be appropriated any quantity, anytime. Normally, the best example is YouTube and Facebook also, right? Then you can upload any number of your images, any number of videos you are not thinking, right? From your side, there is unlimited, right? That is some kind of cloud characteristics, right? Then we have some more characteristics to discuss, right? Some kind of common characteristics, right? So, right. First one is massive scale, right? Scale is high from the side of storage, not only for the storage, right? Storage, you have massive scale storage, huge storage in the with some kind of cloud service, right? And also you have massive computing power. You have a huge computing power, processing power. That means you have huge processors to process. Likewise, it is some kind of massive scale. Right? Then resilient computing, right? So it is the same idea about this elasticity, right? Elasticity, right? Right? Elasticity, right? Same idea, right? It is some kind of expandable computing, right? Resilient computing, right? Okay, some kind of elasticity is there, elasticity. Then homogeneity, right? Homogeneity means if you are a cloud user, then let's assume you are working with some kind of cloud service provider, right? Let's assume, right, AWS, right? Then homogeneity means you can take lot of service, number of service from them, right? You can take any service from this vendor, right? So that the idea is here, you can take any service from the same vendor, right? Right? We can tell it as some kind of everything from the same vendor, right? That is the homogeneity. They have email, they have website, web hosting, virtual machines, right? Whatever the thing, whatever the technology is available in the world, they have in the, right? I think that I told about this AWS, they have all these things, right? Likewise, from if you are using cloud service, that we can take all things from some kind of same place. Then it is easiness of the management of these resources, right? Then geographical distribution, right? If you have time, you can see AWS server locations or the server farms. You can search, right? You can search. You can normally give some kind of AWS. AWS mean Amazon Web Services server farm locations. Likewise, you can give some kind of search. Then there will be some kind of images, or maybe you can see some kind of maps. You can see it is geographically distributed around the world, right? They have servers in India, Mumbai. They have servers in Singapore. They have servers in North America. They have servers in South America. They have servers in Europe, right? Likewise, it is geographically vastly distributed, right? So that is some kind of a characteristics of geographic distribution. And also some another thing is, another idea is also there, right? That is what anywhere from the world, if you have internet connection, right, then you can access this cloud services, If you have a internet connection, a good internet connection, maybe wired internet connection, right? Wired internet connection, or maybe wireless internet connection, right? Whatever the thing, or maybe you have some kind of satellite connection, wired, wireless, right? Wireless, or maybe satellite. Now it is satellite connection is now it is getting very popular, right? Satellite internet connectivity, right? So geographic distribution, right? This is also the geographic distribution, right? This cloud servers are distributed around the world, and also any person from with the internet connection and some kind of devices can access these resources, right? There's a message, I think. All right. Okay. I forgot to told you, right? Please put your registration number and your name, right? Then we can collect the attendance. Then then next one is virtualization, right? We will discuss this concept in future, right? What the virtualization? If I brief the virtualization is inside. Let's assume you have one server machine. Then you have one server machine. Inside that server machine, you will run some kind of 2 or 3 machines virtually, right? Right. This machine is running with let's assume Windows, right? Windows. This one is running with let's assume Ubuntu, right? Right. This one may be some what is CentOS, right? In the same server machine. This is the server machine, right? Server machine. So that is the idea, right? Windows, Ubuntu, CentOS, right? Maybe my letters are not clear. However, inside one machine, inside one server machine, maybe this is not a server machine, maybe some kind of computer, you can run some kind of separate machines, right? This is the concept called virtualization in cloud computing, right? We will discuss this concept later. We will discuss cloud virtualization in a large scale, right? It is some kind of huge concept in cloud computing and in developing these cloud-based applications. And service orientation, right? What are the service orientation that we have, right? Maybe we have several service models. We will discuss these things. This is some kind of another characteristics that we have. And low-cost software, right? Actually, normally in cloud services are very low cost, right? Right. Normally, you are using Google Docs, right? This is some kind of we call it as a software as a service, cloud service, right? Software as a service. It is some kind of a service model, right? It is actually free, right? Google Docs, Google Slides, these sort of services are actually free. And also, this you are using, I think, Office, right? You are using Office, right? Office also have some kind of cloud version, right? Or called, it is some kind of web version. And also it is also another thing called Office 365, right? This 365 have Office 365 or 365. You have both online, that means web browser version, and installed app version of this Office 365, right? This is also some kind of cloud service provided by Microsoft, right? Office 365. So it is very low cost, right? If you are going to purchase some kind of, at least that some kind of standalone software, then you have to purchase key for that software. Then you have to activate that key using that key, the software. Likewise, if that kind of more than more than that kind of cost, this online service cost is very less, right? Then what you can do, right? Then let's assume you are working, right, with some kind of project. For that project, you need Office, right? Then what you can do, you can subscribe to some kind of cloud Office 365 subscription. Let's assume it is a monthly subscription, right? Then after 6 months, the work is over. Then you no need more, you more no need this Office package. Then you can pay only for 6 months by monthly payment. Then you no need to pay again, right? Then it will be saving the money, right? Also, this monthly payment also very low, right? That is the idea, right? This is the example, right? For a lot of services are low cost, right? Low cost software we have in this cloud, and we will discuss those things, right? And advanced security, right? If you are using cloud services, right? From the server side, right? We don't want to worry about the security, right? All these security patches, security updates, maintenance, firewalling, right? And honeypots, all these things are managed by the cloud service provider, right? Then as a consumers or the users, we have huge advantage on this security, right? Right. Then we will come to this point, cloud service models, right? Actually, there is 3 major models. You can tell them as SaaS, IaaS, and next one is PaaS, right? SaaS, IaaS, and PaaS, right? SaaS means software as a service, right? Right. Then the capability provided to the consumer is to use the provider's application running on cloud infrastructure, right? The best example is we discuss here, Docs, Google Docs, and Office 365, right? These applications are not run on your, right? Normally, if you are using Office 365 web version, it is run on the it is run on the Microsoft cloud servers, right? Not in your machine. You are using your machine, you are only accessing, right? This is for that kind of scenario, we are telling your computer is working as a thin client, right? You are not doing any process, you are just only using web browser, you are just only connecting to that service, right? Right? The application are accessible from various client devices, right? Various client devices. I told that thin clients, right? Devices through either a thin client, right? Thin client interface, maybe thin client interface, such as web browser, right? Using a web browser, right? Using web browser, you can access, right? As example, web-based email, Gmail, right? It is some kind of also free service supplied by the Google. It has also paid versions, right? Normally for the education institutes, they are giving free email services for the educational institutes. If it is a reputed and verified education institute, maybe non-profit organizations, maybe for the Sri Lankan government universities, or maybe some kind of non-profit universities, the Google is supplying this free email service, right? And also they have paid version, right? For the industries, they are giving a paid services. I think you had used this web, right? Email, right? Web-based email, right? Google email you had used. It is some kind of software as a service, cloud service, right? SaaS cloud service. Web-based email is a software as a service, cloud service, right? Or a program interface, right? We have several program interface, right? The consumer, right? The consumer does not manage or control the underlying cloud infrastructure, right? You don't know about the bandwidth, right? If you are using, let's assume you are using Google Docs, right? You don't know about the bandwidth. You don't know about the technologies. You don't know about the databases. You don't know about the, what is that, calculations or the processing power, right? But you are using, right? Encoding, right? You don't know, does not manage or control the underlying cloud infrastructure. You don't have any idea about this cloud infrastructure, like network, right? What are the servers, or maybe the operating systems? What is, you don't know. when you are editing some kind of document on the Google spreadsheet or the Google Docs, right, or the Office 365 cloud, right? You no need to think about this. What is the operating system that actually you don't know? What is the operating system that's servicing you, right? You don't know, but you are using, and you don't know about the storage or even individual application capabilities, right? Right? You don't know how many applications are there, how many users are there, even you don't know, right? With the possible exception of limited user specific application configuration setting, right? Right. You have some kind of limited configurations, right? Limited configuration. If you are editing some kind of Google document, if you want to collaborate that with your users or the students, what you can do, right? You can work with, right? You can work with your colleagues. If you have to prepare a presentation, what you can do, you can work on Google Slides, and collaboratively, if you have 3 group members, you all 3 can work on that one, right? Right. That is the idea, right? Cloud service model. We have 3 models: SaaS, IaaS, and PaaS. SaaS means, first one is SaaS. It is, the idea is, or the meaning is, software as a service, right? Google Docs is a good idea, right? A good example for this, right? Then if I have time, I can share, right? I can show you, right, what is this. Okay, right? I will show you, right? I don't know if, do you work with this Google services, right? Right. Let me share my web browser for you, right? Right. 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 Can you see my web browser? Yes. Then now I had the Google account. This is some kind of free account, right? Then if you go, I'm going here, right? Then whatever the thing, then now they have services, right? This is also, now I am in this Google, right, web browser, and if I want to search something, we can search, right? Then here there is number of cloud services supplied by them. They have YouTube, right? Right. Also Gmail, right? Google Drive, right? And photos, right? News, right? Meet, right? Likewise, Google Meet you can use for meeting purposes, right? Likewise, number of services, right? They have number of services. They have Google Forms, very popular one, and they have Google Docs, right? Right. I will click here, right? Right. Then what happened? It is loading, right? This is some kind of, this is the best example for the IaaS, sorry, SaaS, right? Software as a service. This is some kind of software as a service. If I click here, blank page, right? Then it will be loading, right? Then what is this, right? On your web browser, right? This is your web browser, right? On your web browser, right? There is some kind of word editing software is loaded, right? Some kind of, you can type something here, right? Right, you can type something here, right? Right. Right. Likewise, this is some kind of, I think you had used this one, right? But I want to tell here, this is a best example. This is what we are calling as software as a service, right? This software, now this software is, you are accessing through your web browser. Now your computer as working as some kind of thin client, right? You had, now this, now you had typed these words, but this processing is doing in some kind of server machine behind, right? That is the idea you need to take, right? This computation, these all are computations. If you type something, if I want to change the color, right? Text color, right? These are calculations, right? to change this color, it is some kind of calculation. This calculation is not done by your computer, right? That's what I want to tell. This calculation is done by some kind of server machine behind the scene. We don't know, right? Some kind of server machine in Google infrastructure, right? Right? If you type anything, these all are calculations, right? Right? Letters mean numbers, right? Finally, in computing, right? Then it is handled by some kind of server machine, right? Then I think for the document creating or some, if you have to do some kind of assignments, right? Then you can use this one, right? The advantage is, right? You have there is number of features here, right? I am not going to much explain those things, right? I want to give this idea, right? Right? You are using this one, right? You need to think how this Google is facilitating this much of infrastructure for the users for free of use, free of charge, right? So can you imagine how much of infrastructure they are maintaining for supply this service for the whole world, right? So that is some kind of huge infrastructure for them, right? And huge work, huge project, right? Right. This is the idea, right? This is you can work, right? There is some kind of thing called Office 365 like this, right? In Office by Microsoft Office 365, there is some kind of application like this. I think maybe some of you have used that Office 365 and some of you not used, right? There's this kind of web work also available in Office also, Microsoft Office, right? And there is some kind of interesting thing, right? If you want to present this meeting or to some kind of meeting, you can do this here, right? Likewise, you have some kind of interesting facilities here, right? Also, what was the most important facility according to my idea, right? In here, right? Also, you can share your document, right? Right? What you can do, you can click here, right? Share, right? Right, before name it before sharing, right? What you can do, right? You can type some kind of email address here, right? You can type whatever the Gmail, but let's assume your friend email address, and then what you can do, you can type email address and you can share this document with some others, right? Then what the interesting thing is, right? You can work collaboratively at the same time with the person you had shared with this document to improve or develop this document, right? You can share this document for some other and you both can work, right? This is very useful, right? I think when you are doing presentations, right? You are making presentations, right? Then you are geographically, maybe you are in all the students are from several places in the country. Some students are from the Canada, some all around the country. Then you can use this collaborative tool, right, to design some. If you have to do some kind of document, you can use these services, right? Then if you have to prepare presentations collaboratively, right, you can work, right? So this, I think, more than normal traditional applications, you can use this cloud technologies, right? Cloud-based, this, what is the name for this one? Software as a services, right? Cloud software as a services for your day-to-day work easily. They have more functionalities than that, and they have some kind of novelty, right? That is the idea. I think if we had practical, right? I think you can play with this, right? If you had, I think that every one of you had used this service. Maybe some students that is new to this, right? Maybe, right? Maybe, I don't know, right? I think a lot of students are using this Google Docs and Google Slides, especially for creating presentations. And I think you are new to this Office 365. I think very less number of students maybe use, right? So you can play, right? You can work on this, right? You can use for your day-to-day works this one, right? Okay, then we will go back to our lesson, right? Right. I think now you can see my presentation, right? Or the slides. Okay, that is the idea of this software as a service, right? That is the best example for, right? Example, Google spreadsheet. We had shown that one, right? Google spreadsheet, right? Then the next one is cloud infrastructure as a service, right? Infrastructure as a service. Here, software as a service. Here, infrastructure as a service. The capability provided to provision processing, storage, networks, and other fundamental computing resources consumer can deploy and run arbitrary software. Right. Right. In this infrastructure, right? Infrastructure means they are supplying whole background and the infrastructure for you, right? Right. If you want to store a web server in the cloud, then what will happen? The cloud service provider may assume Microsoft. I am requesting from them, I want a web server. Okay, we will give. Microsoft will tell Azure, right? They will provide you a server machine, virtual server machine from their cloud, right? It has some kind of processing power, right? Right? Processor mecharai, right? Storage is like this, storage mecharai, right? Right? According to you, right? And they also giving some kind of price, right? For this, you have to do some kind of payment, right? With some processing power, some storage, right? Network, right? What is the bandwidth you want, right? You can request, I am going to run a website, my website. So I need this much of bandwidth, right? For the internet and other fundamental computing resources, right? Consumer can deploy and run arbitrary software, right? Then you can hire a server machine, then you can install what are the things, the server machines or database management systems and web server in there, and you can start your web hosting there in the cloud, right? Finally, you can manage all the things, right? Then what is the advantage here, right? Let's assume you are some kind of startup company, right? Some kind of startup company that don't have some kind of money to purchase server machines and the network connections, right? Network mean for the network connectivity for some kind of server machines, right? Then you need some kind of continuous bandwidth. So in that kind of situation, what you can do, right? You can go for some kind of cloud infrastructure as a service, right? Then you no need to buy server machines. You no need to get huge bandwidth connectivity, network internet connectivity. You no need storage. You no need a separate place to, that means physical place to store this store these devices, right? You no need to think about those things. Within a laptop, you can host a website, right? Using cloud services, right? Right. That is the idea. This cloud infrastructure as a service. Infrastructure is hired to you, right? Actually, it is hired to you, right? Infrastructure is hired to you, right? They have the service providers having resource pool from from that resource pool. They are giving you some kind of a part of this processing power, storage, networks. What are the things you need, right? Right. So without any initial cost, you can host a website. That is some kind of advantage, right? Then, right, Amazon Web Services and Flexi Scale, right? Okay, this is some kind of example. Amazon Web Services, right? AWS, right? AWS, and this is another Flexi Scale, another service provider, right? This is some kind of infrastructure as a service providers, right? Right, IaaS, right? This cloud is known as infrastructure as a service, right? Right, that is the idea. Then next one, third one, PaaS, right? Or PaaS, right? Platform as a service, right? That's the idea is here. The capability provided to the consumer is to deploy onto the cloud infrastructure, consumer created or acquired application created using programming language, libraries, services, and tools supported by the provider, right? this platform as a service mean, right? If you want to develop some kind of software, right? If you want to do programming, right? If you want to do programming, right? But you don't have a huge computer to, or maybe server machines to purchase, you don't have money, right? As a startup, then what you can do, you can develop your software inside some kind of cloud service, right? That kind of services we tell in as platform as a service, or PaaS or PaaS, right? Right, capability provided to consumer deploy into the cloud infrastructure, right? Created or acquired application created using programming language, or maybe you can use libraries, whatever the thing, right? Right, but right, Git, you know Git, GitHub, right? This is some kind of example for this platform as a service, right? Programming language, right? And if you want, you can insert libraries for that one. Software development, you know, I think software students, they know what are the libraries, right? Software development library, and what are the services you need, and tools, and supported by the provider, right? These things you can easily get the support from the provider and you can install. The consumer does not manage or control the underlying cloud infrastructure, right? The consumer does not manage the cloud infrastructure, including network, servers, right? Operating system, right? Then you don't need to worry about these things, right? You don't need to worry about this. You don't need to worry about infrastructure, cloud infrastructure. You don't need to worry about network. No need to worry about servers, operating systems, and storage, right? Right? But has control over the deployed application, right? But only what you have this. If you are doing software development, right? Then you have only control on this your application, software development application. You only have the control, right? Other things are controlled by the service provider, right? And possibly configuration settings for the application hosting environment, right? Maybe some service providers are giving access to this software development configuration portal, or the configuration like cPanel, right? You know, right? When you are hosting a website, you need to manage the cPanel, right? Those who are working with web hosting, they will know, right? They will only give access to the cPanel, right? Likewise, right? Or this some kind of software development, software configuration file, they are giving access, but other infrastructures you don't have any access, right? That is the idea. I think you had understood this software as a service, infrastructure as a service, and also platform as a service. I think you had got some idea, right? So, right, we will also discuss this one. Right, cloud service models. Actually, this is the three models that we had discussed. Right. Right. First one is right. The clients, right? That may be the maybe the user, cloud user, right? Or maybe if you are maintaining some kind of website, maybe the visitor for the website, right? The context of website, right? Or whatever, right? The client, right? They only need to have web browser and running some kind of maybe mobile app. We call it as thing kind, right? Terminal, emulator, what is the thing, right? Right, and this is the client, and these are the services, SaaS, PaaS, and IaaS, right? So in here you can see application, platform, infrastructure, right? In SaaS, you only have application like CRM. CRM means customer relationship management systems, right? So you have softwares, right? In this layer, right? As software as a service, and you have email. Maybe you can have some kind of virtual desktop, right? Virtual machines, right? Then you can communication means some kind of you know this today, right? WhatsApp, right? WhatsApp also web-based, cloud-based communication tool. Also Facebook, right? Facebook also communication tool, right? So these are also SaaS, right? YouTube also a SaaS service, right? Software service. It is also SaaS service, right? But right, that is some kind of SaaS, software as a service, right? It is YouTube is giving you some kind of video player with the videos, right? That is also some kind of SaaS, right? And then right, next one is PaaS. We discussed platform as a service. This is in platform. Maybe especially in software development, right? You know what is runtime, execution runtime. You can develop some kind of runtime. You know currently you can develop some kind of containers, containerization. We will, if we had time, we will discuss this containerization in DevOps or the system engineering. And in this cloud computing, it is a very new concept, containerization. And also we can, in this PaaS, you have databases, platform as a service. You can take database services and web server, some kind of platform as a service, and some kind of software development tools, right? And as an infrastructure as a service, IaaS, you can take virtual machines, right? And maybe you can have servers, right? You can have a virtual server, right? From as an infrastructure, and you can take in storage, especially load balancers, right? Load balancers mean, let's assume I had discussed about the traffic for some kind of website. Then at that time, in front of that kind of huge traffic website, they are using load balancers load balancer servers, load balancing servers. We call them as load balancers for the balancing this load, right? To share this load with the several server machines within their infrastructure, right? They are called load balancers, right? And also we need to think about network, right? Infrastructure network, right? Because we have to manage the network bandwidth and maybe network connectivities also. Right, this is the cloud service models, right? Okay, right, then, okay, now 5:35 the time. Shall we have a small break? Right, cloud service models. The next one we have type of clouds, right? This is, I can say, some kind of deployment models, right? Initially we discussed, right? This is some kind of how the cloud is deployed, maybe in your organization or maybe in your institute, right? How it is deployed, right? And first one is private cloud, right? The cloud infrastructure is operated solely for an organization, right? Give me a minute. Right, sorry about that one. The cloud infrastructure is operated solely for an organization, right? Example, Windows Server, Hyper-V, right? The scenario here is, the idea here is, if you are maintaining some kind of cloud service for your internal use, right? Some kind of internal cloud is what we are naming as private cloud. Right? Normally, a lot of universities are maintaining some kind of private cloud or maybe private servers, right? That means some kind of private cloud, right? Normally, some universities are maintaining only servers, but some organizations are maintaining their own private cloud, right? So they have computing power as a pool, right? Whatever the thing they want, right? They will share this resource pool, right? That is the idea, right? Normally, right? Even a simple, if you have some kind of high-end Windows server machine, right? High-end server machine, right? You can use some kind of the technology called Windows Server Hyper-V to do some kind of virtualization there, right? Some kind of resource allocation there. And you can use that high-end server machine as some kind of cloud environment, right? So if you have some kind of 1, 2, 3, maybe 5, 6, 7 server machines, right? Then, right, you can use these server machines using this Windows Server Hyper-V, right? This is some kind of software, right? Hyper-V, right? To manage this infrastructure, cloud infrastructure, you can use this Windows Hyper-V, right? Right. Then community cloud. The cloud infrastructure is shared by several organizations and supports as a specific goal. Let's assume, as example, in Sri Lanka, there is a cloud called Sri Lankan Government Cloud, right? LGC, Lanka Government Cloud, right? LGC, right? Lanka, please check the name, right? I'm not sure, right? LGC, Lanka Government Cloud, right? If I am not correct, if I am not wrong, right? Lanka Government Cloud. The cloud, this is some kind of cloud infrastructure or the cloud environment or ecosystem that is supplying services for the Sri Lankan government sector, right? It is supplying services for Sri Lankan government sector. If you want an email server, then you can request from them. They will give you an email server freely if you are a government organization, right? Then if you want to host a website, right, they will give some kind of servers, right? Then if you want to host some kind of application or maybe system inside the server machine, they will give you a cloud storage, right? LGC, Lanka Government Cloud, right? Right. Also, there is another thing called, this is some kind of extra thing, LGN also there, right? LGN means Lanka Government Network, right? It is also a network, right? In every government organization, they have now implementing, they are still not completed, they are implementing Wi-Fi services, Lanka Government Network, right? That is Lanka. This both are maintained by, what is called ICTA, right? ICTA, right? ICTA. Information Communication Technology Agency, Sri Lanka, right? These both are maintained by them, right? Or the governing by them, right? Administrating by them, right? In Sri Lanka, what is that? There is some kind of file deleting or some kind of thing happened in Sri Lanka. Is that drug corporation or somewhere, right? Drug Regulatory Commission database has been lost, right? That is also hosted in this LGN, right? LGC, Sri Lankan Government Cloud, right? That system was also hosted in this LGC. However, there was some kind of data loss. I think there was a court case for that one, right? I don't know what is happening, right? It is also hosted in this LGC. So what I want to tell here, right? What I want to tell here, this is some kind of community cloud, right? Several Sri Lankan government is maintaining this LGC, and it is servicing for number of government and semi-government organizations, right? Maybe statutory bodies in Sri Lanka, right? Maybe some kind of universities, they are giving number of services, right? This is the idea, the cloud infrastructure, right? The cloud infrastructure is shared by several organizations and supports a special goal, right? This is a best example in Sri Lankan context, right? The goal is to supply digital services to the Sri Lankan government sector, right? That is the goal. But any other clouds also available, right? Some organizations are collaboratively working some kind of to achieve some kind of goal, some kind of, let's assume they want to do some kind of innovation. Let's assume there is some kind of Linux Foundation, they are working for developing Linux community. Likewise, they have a lot of things, like normally, who are the car manufacturers in the world, they have projects, they have communities, they are, right, they are working, they have created some kind of collaborative, we can call, organizations, right? They are funding, every Toyota is funding, right? Also Nissan is funding, right? Bajaj also funding, right? They have some kind of organizations like that. From that organizations, what they are doing, they are work on the development of the mobile vehicle, right? Sorry, the development of the vehicles, right? How we can develop fuel efficiency vehicles. They are doing researchers. Likewise, this kind of organizations are working on this improvement of the technology, right? Without thinking about the proprietary technologies in the organizations, they are working, right? This kind of organizations are available. So this kind of organizations can use this kind of cloud infrastructure for their day-to-day works, for the research purpose, maybe research purpose. Between universities, they can use if they have cloud environments, right? That is the idea of this community cloud, right? Then also what is that website? We can call the Wikipedia. We can consider it as some kind of community cloud, right? It is maintained by community, right? It is maintained by the funds from the community, right? It is feel free to use for everyone. It is some kind. I think it is the Wikipedia, right? Wikipedia is the, I think, right, most fast growing Wikipedia, right? Encyclopedia, right? Most growing encyclopedia, Wikipedia, right? It is online version. It is working with some kind of cloud environment, right? So that is some kind of example for the community cloud, right? You know, in Wikipedia, anyone can edit, anyone can change, anyone can write anything in the Wikipedia web pages. And it is, but even it is, I think 98% accuracy, right? 98% accuracy is there in the detail in the websites in the Wikipedia. 98% accuracy, but anyone can write anything, but the accuracy is, I think there was some kind of research paper I showed. I showed nearly, I saw. So in that research paper, they are telling that 98% accuracy is there in the websites, web pages in Wikipedia, right? So I think still a lot of people are telling that humans are not good in today's world, but it is, I think, a good example for that humans are not bad, right? As a community, they are working together to develop this world, right? The best example is Wikipedia, right? So, right, a lot of people are writing number of articles, right? Number of articles, number of letters, number of things. That is, they are sharing their knowledge inside the Wikipedia without for no cost, right? Right. That is a different story, right? Okay. For as a community community cloud, we can take Wikipedia also, right? Then public cloud. The cloud infrastructure is made available to the general public, right? Like Google Docs and spreadsheet, right? Like YouTube, right? YouTube, we can tell, right? YouTube, spreadsheet, Office 365, right? The services. You know, in today we have a lot of online services are available, online versions of the services. Then we can consider them as also public cloud, right? Also, this is Gmail, right? Gmail, right? Gmail also the public, very most popular public cloud, right? Right, right. That means, right? You know, this private cloud is limited to some kind of organization, but this private cloud is open for everyone, right? That means this is maintained by some kind of organization, maybe non-profit organization, maybe a commercial organization like AWS or Microsoft Azure. Likewise, some companies maintain this public cloud. If we want some kind of services from this public cloud, we can take, right? But the difference here is in this public cloud, right? The servers are not hosted in our premises, right? Servers අපි ගාව නෙමෙයි තියෙන්නේ, right? This cloud physically hosted in some other place, right? The physical location is not ours, right? අපි ගාව නෙමෙයි තියෙන්නේ, right? That is the idea, right? And private clouds, all server machines, all network infrastructure, we internally maintain, right? But in public cloud, it is not, right? Then the hybrid cloud, right? The cloud infrastructure is composition of two or more clouds, private, community, or public, right? Example, cloud bursting, right? Bursting for load balancing between clouds, right? That means normally, let's I explain a little bit what is hybrid cloud, right? Normally, let's assume Central Bank of Sri Lanka, CBSL, Central Bank of Sri Lanka, CBSL, right? Let's assume they have hybrid cloud, right? Then what happened? Maybe their website is hosted in cloud environment, right? But their database are stored in internal cloud service, internal servers, right? Right? Cloud means some kind of connection of server machines. Maybe if we have high-end server machine, we can create a cloud, right? Right. Then their CBSL is hosting their website in public cloud, right? But their internal database, survey detail are stored in, and their email is stored in a private cloud, right? So then what happening in the CBSL, they are using both private cloud and also public cloud, right? They are using private cloud and also they are using public cloud. Then what happens in this type of scenario, right? What we are telling, it is some kind of hybrid cloud, right? It is not internal servers. They have also internal servers. And then also they have outsourced servers, right? They have both. This is some kind of hybrid infrastructure. I know in the industry, I have some experience with the industry. In Sri Lanka, the most popular cloud deployment model, normally in Sri Lankan IT industry is this hybrid cloud. What normally they are doing for the production purpose, especially the popular way that they are using for the production site. Production site means if there is a website that you are using, right? The usable website, that who are login to the, right? How can I say that? Let's assume you have a website, right? Users are logging to that. It is hosted in a server. Then users are logging to that server, seeing the website, right? We call that server machine or the host machine is the production server or the production website or the production web server, right? It is the production. It is doing the production. It is giving the service. That is the production server, right? For the production server, companies are using cloud, right? Not only this website, if they have distribution server, if they have any other servers, right? If they have some kind of online systems, right? They have online services for the customers. For that production service, they are using cloud. For establishing or the giving services, they are using cloud for the production server. They are using public cloud, right? Public cloud for the production service, right? They are using public cloud for the production service for hosting the website. For the backup purpose, right? Every day, if we are maintaining a website, normally daily we are taking backups, right? You have LMS in your university, right? Normally the administrators of the LMS taking, I think, not daily backup. 12 hour by 12 hour, they are taking backups, right? Of all of your data, right? They are backup in that part, right? That is the standard, right? According to normally website is, I think, for a 1 day, right? If it is not a huge traffic website, right? For in Sri Lankan context, we are taking one backup for the day, right? For the backupping purpose, industries are using this internal or the private cloud servers, right? For the production environment, they are using public cloud, right? For the backupping purpose, for all this server machine, they are using this private cloud. right? This is some kind of that type of hybrid cloud or the hybrid cloud infrastructure in Sri Lanka IT industries are maintaining. So, right, that is the idea that I want to tell. Right, that is the difference between private cloud, community, public, and hybrid. The hybrid is the most popular one in Sri Lanka, right? Maybe you can experience this hybrid cloud if you are joining in some kind of industry, when you are joining in some kind of industries. Right. Then we come to some kind of interesting point, right? Cloud and virtualization. Right? In cloud computing, this virtualization is a very important concept, right? All right. First one, virtual workspace, right? An abstraction of an execution environment that can be made dynamically available to authorized clients by using well-defined protocols. All right, this is like Google Workspace, right? Nothing but, right? It is like Google Workspace, right? They are giving some kind of workspace for you, some kind of software package for you, right? Virtual, right? That normally in your machine, if you are working with Word, it is some kind of standalone software. It is stored in your, the data developing or the data processing in that Word processing software is processing in your machine. Normally, you in your computer standalone, let's assume your Word software, Microsoft Word. The data was stored in your hard disk. Processing is done by your computer processor. RAM, that means memory, is given by your computer RAM memory, right? Like networking is given by your internet connectivity, right? Likewise, it is some kind of internal process, right? But in this virtual workspace, what is happening? This Google Docs, these all things are done by server machines, not by your machines. Right? Execution environment that can be made dynamically available to, right? Dynamically available, right? It is also dynamically available to authorized clients, right? Dynamically available, right? That means you can, whatever the resources you need, you can request from your cloud service provider. Then they will allocate them. Then you have to pay for that one, right? That is the idea. That is not statics. The resources. This workspace is actually dynamical, right? Available to the authorized clients by using well-defined protocols, right? Using well-defined protocols, right? To share this data and this resources, this workspace, they have protocols. What is the protocol mean? Protocol, you know, is some kind of set of rules, right? Set of rules, right? Protocols mean. According to this protocol, they are supplying this workspace service. Then resource quota, right? CPU memory share, right? You can request a quota, right, from the virtualization, right? Virtualization, right? You can request this virtual group to what are the resources you need? How much CPU you want, right? CPU mean processing power you need, right? What are the memory you need? 1 GB, 10 GB, or what is the actually this memory mean RAM memory, right? Memory mean not storage, right? Memory mean RAM memory. Storage mean hard disk memory, right? Don't mix those things, right? Memory mean RAM memory, right? Random access memory, right? Memory, right? And then you can define what is the CPU power and the memory share in this virtualized machine, right? Right. Also software configurations, right? Also you can do this software configurations in this virtual machine separately. What is the IP address? What is the software that is running on this virtual machine? Likewise, and the operating system even. What is the operating system run on this machine? You can define, right? If you can see here, right? right? You will get a better idea, right? You can get a better idea, some kind of virtualized stack. Then what is the foundation of this stack is hardware, right? And you have hardware in memory, processor, server machine. So all these things, right? Server machine in memory, hardware, all this, that is hardware, right? Memory, storage, right? In front of that, you have some kind of software component called hypervisor, right? This hypervisor is communicating with hardware and these virtual machines, right? Right? This is some kind of intermediate. This is also some kind of software, right? Installed on this infrastructure, right? Or maybe let's assume this is some kind of single machine, some single server machine you are going to virtualize. Then this is the hardware of the server machine. Then this is some kind of software installed to that server machine, hypervisor. And then on top of this hypervisor, then you are installing virtual operating systems, right? OS, this is 1, 2, 3, right? Then on this hypervisor, you can install, right? Let's assume you have, right, 6 cores processors, right? 6 processors you have, right? 6 processors. Then for this OS, you can allocate to here also 2, right? You can allocate, right? Then all these 6 processors are allocated for the each OS by 2 by 2, right? This allocation is managed by this hypervisor, right? This allocation is managed by this hypervisor, right? So also here it has 2, right? 2. Also RAM, let's assume you have 12 GB RAM for the server machine, right? Then you can share that one also to this OS 4, this OS 4, this OS 4, right? Then you have one server machine. Inside that server machine, you have virtual 3 operating systems, actually 3 machines, right? Actually, you have 3 machines, right? Right. This is like inside the one machine, there is 3 virtual machines, right? This is the basic concept of this virtualization. Let's assume this is Windows, this is CentOS. Third one is, what is that? Ubuntu, right? Whatever, right? Then let's assume this first one is Windows. Then you can, what you can do? You can install Windows apps, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, whatever the apps inside here, and you can use, right, as a separate machine. Right? You can assign IP address, right? Then next one is CentOS one, second one. Let's assume you want to host a website here, right? Then you can host a website and giving services to the web using this instance or this virtual machine, right? Then if you want to give some kind of internal services, like some kind of, let's assume you are some kind of software development firm. If you want to supply internal service, then you can supply that service using this machine, this virtual machine. So inside the one server machine, now you have 3 virtual machines according to this example, right? This is some kind of graphical representation, right? That is the idea of this virtualization. All right. Implement on virtual machines. Abstraction of physical host machine, right? It is some kind of inside this idea is inside this machine there is separate 3 virtual machines. Hypervisor, this one, right? Hypervisor intercept and emulate instructions from VM, right? Right. Right. This is right from VMs and allow management of VMs. Right? Emulates an instruction, right? Interrupt, intercept, and emulate. This hypervisor is sharing OS data from here to hardware and process them and again send it back to this OS, right? Right. Also, right, emulate, right? Also, this one is let's assume this OS has huge computation to do, right? first one, the Windows one, then it will give priority to processing this process, right? HyperOS is managing this. This OS has huge workload, then hypervisor, what is hypervisor is doing? It is giving priority to this OS and lot of hardware is allocated for that one, right? Normally in virtually, I told 2 processors are allocated to this one. That is true. 2 to here, 2 to this one. But let's assume this from this 2, right? This from this second OS, from these 2 processors, one processor is not using currently, right? Then what this hypervisor is doing, he know that from this OS, this CentOS instance, CentOS virtual machine, there is one coil, one processor is not working, it is idle at the moment. What happening by this hypervisor? He will temporarily allocate that idle one processor to this Windows OS, because this Windows OS is very busy and he has to do huge calculation. Then hypervisor temporarily allocate that one processor to this OS, right? Likewise, it is emulates the instruction from VMs, right? That is some kind of example I am explaining, right? However, this hypervisor is managing this hardware and this virtual OS from VMs and allow management of VMs, right? And it is managing these VMs, right? And this is some kind of example, right? VMware, right? I think you know, even for your laptop computer, you can install this VMware, right? And you can run some kind of virtual machines there, right? Same concept here, right? VMware. And I think you will not much familiar with this Zen. It is some kind of commercial application. Actually, a lot of commercial organizations, a lot of software development firms are using this Zen. It is a good software, good hypervisor actually, and also this KV, right? This is some kind of example for this virtualization, right? Also, there is some kind of some other thing called OpenStack. So there's OpenStack, right? You can search, right? It's some kind of modernized one, right? OpenStack, it is also a very popular one. And next one is provide infrastructure API, right? Plug into hardware support structures, right? That means API mean application programming interface, right? Let's assume this is one server machine, right? Let's assume we have same machine like that. This is the first one. This is the second one, right? Like us. Then we have another one, 3. We have 3 machines inside this machine. Same, this kind of virtual machine is also available in this second and third one. So, right, then we can, I am discussing this one from this hardware side. We can make some kind of API. API means application programming interface, right? Right. So what we can do, if we have large calculations to do that cannot manage by this first server machine, then we can pass these computations to second server machine. Or if it is not enough, then again we can pass this computations into this third server machine, right? Likewise, we can share this one, right? Or that means we can communicate this computation using this API, this application programming interface, right? So in this virtualized cloud, we can manage this work, right? Even if you have a good API between this virtual OS, right? I discussed one scenario, this one. The second scenario is even you have good API, a good application programming interface between these virtual machines, right? Here also, right? Good API, right? then what they can do, right? If this Windows OS, virtual OS have some kind of work, then it can communicate with this virtual machine using this API, and they can share, right? They can get support from this virtual machines, from this one and also this one, right? So that is the idea. That is some kind of advantage of this virtualization, right? Okay. All right. Then, right, we will discuss this one also, right? Right, virtual machines. This is some kind of high-level diagram or the graph that you can get some kind of idea, right? Especially this type of graph can be come into your examination, right? Especially you can this type of graph may be available in your final examination to draw this kind of application, this kind of diagram, right? Maybe equations you can have. And if you can draw this diagram, you can take total marks for that part, right? Likewise, that type of equations may be available in your examination, right? So all the things that what we are discussing will be available, right? So especially this type of graph can be available, right? So keeping that in mind, right? And right, VM technology allows multiple virtual machines to run on a single physical machine. That is what we had discussed in here, right? Discussed here, right? VM technology allows multiple virtual machines, right? These are multiple virtual VM, right? VM mean virtual machine, right? VM. Here also 3 VMs, right? So to run on a single physical machine, we have a single physical machine, but we have 3 virtual machines, right? Inside the same single physical machine, right? Here also, this is SEN, right? SEN or VMware. We have example here, right? VMware and SEN, right? And also KVM. Maybe this hypervisor, maybe SEN. This is some kind of special hypervisor, right? Special we can told as also OS, SEN OS, right? Or SEN hypervisor, right? Hypervisor, right? Hypervisor, right? Why hypervisor, SEN hypervisor, or maybe VMware. It is the manager of this hardware resources, right? For each VM, it is the manager actually, right? This is some kind of software, right? No hardware, not hardware, some kind of, right? You know, message passing, right? Right? It has some kind of hand here and 3 hand to here, right? Servicing this 3 hand to these machines, right? All right. We'll delete this one, right? Right, performance, para virtualization. Example SEN is very close to raw physical performance, right? In this, that idea here is in this virtual machines, right? Right? In these virtual machines, right, are nearly uh, very close to the, considering the performance, it is very close to the raw physical machine performance, right? That is this para virtualization mean, right? It is very close. Actually, if we hosted the website in this kind of server machine, right? Virtual server machine, right? If we cannot, normally the users cannot experience. This is a virtual machine, right? That kind of performance is there, right? In this example, this is a this VM is using Linux, right? And inside that we can install number of apps. This is NetBSD, right? And here Windows, right? According to this example, right? I think this is a nice diagram, right? And then you can take the idea, right? Right, then from this diagram, now it is 6:23, the time is. We will stop at this point, right? If you have any questions, you can ask. Otherwise, we can stop at this point. And also in last week I cannot conduct the class. One day I got a special meeting, and next day I think I got a power cut. I am thinking to do some kind of extra class, right? Extra class for covering the things. Otherwise we cannot manage we cannot cover the syllabus. So I will discuss with your, who is that, your representative, right? With your representative. Today the representative is here or is absent today? Can anyone say yes, he is available here, is absent today? What is the difference between subject coordinator, subject representative, and right now, then who is the representative for this cloud-based application development? Contact, right? Can you මේ මට දාන්නකෝ මේ මට අය මාලක කියලා මට දාන්නකෝ මේ ටෙක්ස්ට් එකක් හරි මොකක් හරි මම සේව් කරගන්න නම් එක, right? Then we can discuss and right? Sorry. Right, Malaka, then you can send me a text message or even a WhatsApp message, right? Then I can, I actually I didn't save your number, right? Then I can save, right? Actually, I check my mobile phone, right? Stop sharing, right? Then what I can do,